The Juice with Judi. Ooh, ooh, it's the vibe. The bad side.
3, 2, 1. Welcome a very pretty, beautiful woman, playing Pretty Woman, Vivian. Olivia Valli, coming to the Fox Theater, the legendary Fox Theater.
I'm so excited. I've never played this house before, and I've toured for 3 years. So this is like one of the houses I've been looking forward to the most.
Wow. So have you toured for 3 years with Pretty Woman?
No, with Wicked. So I covered Elphaba. That was my first professional job.
Your first pro job in your Elphaba.
I covered her. So yeah, I went on a lot for her. So I was in the ensemble, and then at a moment's notice, it was like, you're on. So I did double duty.
Wow. Well, of course, Elphaba being the best character of that. Sorry to
Truly, you have taste. You're an intellect.
Well, you are, yes. And you obviously have a killer voice if you can play Elphaba. So, first and foremost, Pretty Woman, the musical, how much like it is the movie?
I think it's in a lot of ways better than the movie. You still get every iconic moment, the red dress, the necklace, the opera, the polo scene, you get the costumes, but you get a more in-depth story for every character. And we have new characters, and we have characters that were like kind of sprinkled in that are now more fleshed out. And I think they took an 80s movie and they made it modernized for a story that every woman and every person in a way can relate to, because as women, I feel like we all have experience being talked down to because of our gender or
Absolutely.
what we do for work. And
or we're not dressed well enough to go shopping in Beverly Hills. It's happened to me.
And people don't see your value. And like that's the thing, like that happens to people, or like men talking down to you because they think you're less than, which is what happens in the musical and in the movie. And I think what makes Vivian such a special part is that I have my own experiences as that, but also every woman does as well. And so that's what makes this so personal, because we all have a shared yet different experience. And so to be able to tell my version of the things I've experienced in my very short 28 years of living, it's been a lot. It's really important to have this story told. And so they modernized it and made sure that Vivian, has her life and she's not happy with it, but she makes the conscious choice to want to do better and be better. And she meets Edward. And what's so special about their connection is that it's immediate, but Vivian knows her worth and will not allow Edward to treat her like trash. And so many moments in the show where she's like, I don't even want the money. I just want to go because I won't tolerate this. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the musical in comparison to the movie, because I love the movie.
Sure.
As things age, things also get phased out, just sign of the times. And so I feel like this is a story that everyone can relate to one way or another.
That's really empowering. It sounds like it's really going to be great. Now, did you, how long have you been, how long did you audition? I know with COVID, were you already cast when COVID hit for the part?
So this was my first in-person audition in a year and a half. Wow. So during the pandemic, I just recovered. I've been lucky enough and had the privilege to work consistently for 5 years in a row.
Wow.
And so I just recovered from that because that's taxing.
Yeah.
Initially auditioned for Kit DeLuca, a self-tape. And then I went in and it was a callback for Kit. And I walked out and they handed me the Vivian packet and said, we feel like you would be right for this. And I auditioned and I booked it. And then a month and a half later in September, we're in rehearsals.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does your family think? They must be so proud.
They are over the moon. I've never played a principal role before, and I've always wanted to. And so to do this and take this role and make it my own and still, have all the iconic moments that are going to have people happy, but stay true to myself is the most rewarding process I could ever imagine.
That's incredible.
And they're really happy.
I grew up in Los Angeles with my grandparents were PR agents and from England to Hollywood. And so the business is just and growing up, I was going, I'm going to go to Broadway. I'm going to go to New York. And I ended up instead doing TV, film, radio, voice, stuff like that. Never got to do Broadway, never ended up in New York, could never afford it and didn't have family there. So, I mean, did you ever think that you would ever come over to the TV film side, or was it always going to be stage for you?
I want to do it all. I
Mhm.
think that as an artist, we are naturally inclined to try new things and have different techniques for things. And so that's something that's on my list, is getting into film and TV, because I love that medium to
Mhm.
tell me.
Yeah, it's so intimate. It's so different.
Mhm.
And now the music, I cannot wait to hear it. I think I'm going on Tuesday.
Yay! Oh, I can't wait.
I'm so excited. So talk about what kind of music. I'm coming in completely blinded with this, and I want to do that. And usually I'm the type of person that I have to hear every single song before every concert, every show. I want to know everything. This one's different. For some reason, I feel like I want to just go in and not know anything. So for people like me, and I think it's going to be most people, and by the way, this musical, when it finally came back after COVID, it sold out, made like, I don't remember what it said where it opened, but millions. So obviously people love it. What can you say about the music? What kind of music is it? Can people look forward to?
People can look forward to every style of music in it. Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance did an incredible job of giving your nostalgic 80s like pop rock for like Anywhere But Here. And then you get like you have opera in this. Like we have an opera singer in the show named Amma, who is unbelievable. And she gets a thunderous applause every single night. We also have kind of folkier music, but not like, that mom and pop, like very like heartfelt folk, the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have like your straight up rock and roll kind of moments, and it's
It's got to be
all
a Kit. Is there a Kit rock and roll moment in there?
Kit sings the rock and roll show, the
Mm-hmm.
rock and roll song, and it's Rodeo Drive, and it is the rock and roll you are hoping for. And then you have your like power Celine Dion ballad, which is I Can't Go Back and I Sing It, and it's one of my favorite songs in the show.
I
And
will say it's the top songs when I looked on over as far as downloads. That's the one people like the most. I haven't heard it, but
oh, so good. And like the context of it, and it's just me on stage being able to like own it and eat up the stage. And it's such an empowering moment. When I was rehearsing for it, I had to fight back tears all the time.
I'm welling up just thinking about how it must feel. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And does Edward sing?
Yes.
You must have a duet or something.
We have a duet, and it's your power rock ballad, and you get Adam Pascal like singing high rock things because he's like the blueprint for rock male tenors in musical theater. He has so many good songs, just rock power ballads, one after the other, and his voice soars. Like everybody's voice fits this show perfectly. So like audience members can go in expecting different genres of music, but they're all still tied in with that 80s pop-esque feel, rock pop feel.
So does it take place in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's kind of cool.
But you don't see like, I personally don't like the 80s fashion-wise, like the big, like the neon, all of that.
I lived it.
Not for me, but you see like beautiful, chic, and then like fun, and like stuff that could also be worn in the 90s and even now, actually. So
well, that's all back now,
Exactly. It's all coming right back. And so everyone's gonna really love the costume design with this show as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. This is a show for all ages, especially when you're talking about female empowerment. Thank you very much. And again, it opens at the Fox Theater next week.
Yeah.
Wow. So, have you been to the Fox? Have you been rehearsing there yet? You're going to you're going to be in awe. And there's beautiful theaters everywhere, but the Fox is something to just behold.
I was, when I was touring with Wicked, I was there for 3 years. I was on the road for 3 years, and that's the one venue I didn't go to. And I was always so upset. And And everyone was like, it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I was like, I really wish I could play there. And in my head, I was like, I'd love to be a lead there. And now
Look
I
at
am.
See, you made it come true. Now there
Yeah.
is stories of a female ghost there, but she's friendly. So if you
I'm
see her, let me know.
like story. So she's going to be like, I'm right there with you.
I'm there. Well,
Mhm.
we're really excited, and I will be there Tuesday. I'll give a review. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. And I have to ask this because I know that so many people wonder, how's the romance when you're on the road and you're touring? How does that work?
Honestly, Adam and I are such wonderful friends.
Mhm.
Like, he's really a dear friend of mine. And I think that, at the end of the day, it's a job. And like we have so much mutual love and respect for each other that like we just like love on each other on stage and we just happen to kiss.
Mhm. You're playing a role, and you do have a boyfriend.
Yeah,
And so, how is it having a boyfriend? So, does he live in Jersey, New Jersey?
he does.
How is that when you're touring?
Oh, it's great. He loves to travel, and so he's been nothing but supportive, and he's not of the musical theater world, which I love. So
Mm-hmm.
it really does make things nice and supportive, and like he's not jealous. He's like, you're doing your job. Like, I'm so proud of you, because he knows like we're acting,
Mm-hmm.
and we just happen to be really good actors, so it's super believable, which like
Right.
I'm not mad about ever, because you want to do a good job, and the show heavily relies on the chemistry of Edward and Vivian. So you have
Absolutely.
people that hate each other, and
Mhm.
luckily Adam and I just like love each other so much that we're like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm just like having fun with my friend on stage.
That's neat. And what about the actress who plays Kit? Because they're best friends in the movie.
Yeah, luckily our entire cast gets along really well. And
Wow.
so Jess, who plays Kit, she's also one of my dearest friends off stage.
I
And
love
like
that.
we had this instantaneous bond, and it was like right when rehearsals started and we started doing the scenes together, and like the really intimate scenes, like we started welling up, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's how I know you're going to be a friend of mine for life.
Wow, that's very cool. So,
Yeah.
I think about parents of girls, teen girls that are they saw the movie and maybe they're gonna take their daughter, and maybe their daughter looks and goes, I want to do this someday. Piece of advice.
No matter how many times people tell you no, and no matter how many times people knock you down, if you want to do this, go for it and keep saying, you can't do what I do. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to prove you all wrong. And not
Wow.
for them, but for
Mm-mm.
yourself. Because at the end of the day, like, luckily, I'm very fortunate that people are really enjoying my performance. But if people have anything negative to say, I'm on stage for 2 hours and 15 minutes with no break in 5-inch platform shoes.
Mhm.
When you do what I do, then you can have an opinion. Like, in a really like negative, condescending way. Like, there's, with the work I've put into this, like people who don't understand what it's like, they have no room to be rude and
Mhm.
cruel, because some people really can be, and that stems from something else.
Mm.
So with those kinds of comments, you have to just kind of brush them off.
Mhm.
And also for people who want to do this, but maybe have figured out, maybe this isn't for me, that's okay too. That's
Mhm.
the process, and it's important to honor that. And there's no failure in that. Failure doesn't exist in my world. You just try and you try and you try and you try, and you can only get better. But if it doesn't make you happy, then it's okay to not go for it. Because if anything, I feel like we've talked about mental health and valuing ourselves as people through this
Mhm.
pandemic in our
Mhm.
profession. And I'm learning that it's important to have boundaries. And sometimes boundaries are, this is not the career for me.
Right.
And that's okay.
I love that. I'm gonna have to keep that and say it over and over again, or play it over and over again for people to hear, because my favorite word, besides love, of course, is no.
Yeah.
Bring it, baby. You say no, I'll show you how I'm going to.
And
And
a
and
full
I
sentence.
love that word.
No is a full sentence.
Yes. Yes, and live a little bit uncomfortably, you
Yes.
know? So
Absolutely.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, very excited for you. And I know this is going to go on for a while, but you probably already have things your agent is going, well, I want this for you. Or, I mean, what do you do when that happens?
Well, for me right now, things are pretty relaxed because St. Louis is our fourth city.
Mhm.
So right now it's just about being the smart business person and putting
Mhm.
yourself out there on social media and building a fan base and having, my agents send reviews to other casting directors and to people who are working on projects that I'm interested in. And so right now it's building the foundation. And I believe that I'll be seeing myself audition in 2022 because I'm here for a year contractually. And so that I'm looking forward to auditions a little later down the line. But right now, I'm
It's
just
almost better in a way. It's almost like because you get to enjoy this. Because normally, when I talk to people that are doing stage work, Broadway, they can't, they don't have the time, and yet they're being called, and their agent says, you've got this pilot that you could on. Now it's a little bit, you can enjoy being Vivian.
yeah, and like I love this role. I love this show. It's completely revamped from the Broadway version. They cut things that were necessary. They did change things that were necessary. And so it's really, really good. It's
Hmm.
really such a strong show. And I wish this was the version that went to Broadway. Um, Even though the Broadway version was still wonderful.
Hmm.
Not saying it wasn't, but like biasly, I just think that like we have such a strong show. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm proud of everybody that works so, so hard on this. And there's not a single person who isn't working and who isn't giving their all. And I think what's so beautiful about this show too is that we built it together.
Hmm.
And now our world has become one for everyone.
Wow. That's what our whole world needs, really.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And say thank you to everybody from the stage hands to the people at the concessions, everybody just from me, and I try to, but all the backstage, the musicians, the stand-ins, they're all wonderful, and they all matter.
Yeah, we need them. They are the backbone of this show and they're the reason why this show goes on. Um, I always make it a point to like thank everyone for loading in because we have to load in a show and load it out. They're there for all crazy hours and I just go and like, I do my job, but
Yeah, but
what's
your job's hard. I mean,
yeah, and it's
whew.
super hard. But
Yeah.
I always make it a point to thank them because they're there for longer hours and making
Mhm.
sure that I can do my job.
Well, support theater. Please support theater. Go
Yeah.
see Pretty Woman, the musical at the Fox. And I'm very excited to see it. And good luck. I know you're going to do big, huge, you're going to be all over TV, film. You'll be everywhere. You'll be writing stuff.
I hope so. That would be wonderful. That would
Yeah,
be wonderful.
that's awesome. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate your time. And I know you have a lot to do. So you're going to be great. And again, like you said, anything, we're the same in what we do. We're always getting critique.
Hmm.
And I've come to, having done it for so many years, to just kind of go, oh, they said something mean. What a life they must have. Way to be human. That's me. I'm human.
Exactly.
So,
What?
I love that
What?
you said that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank. And
Yeah.
I, you know, I feel like sometimes with some critics, their humanity is taken out. And at the end of the day, if my bosses are happy and I'm happy and everyone else is happy, that's what matters because that's one person's opinion in comparison to the entire thing that people are looking for. And that
Hmm.
just might not be the flavor of ice cream they wanted. And I was
Sure.
a different flavor, and that's
Hmm.
okay.
Yep. Oh, we can't wait to see you, Olivia. Cannot wait to see you, see Pretty Woman the musical. Thanks, Olivia.
Thank you.
Break a leg.